Hello and welcome to this very special bonus episode of the Rabbit Hole Heroines. I am Jessica, the Big Weird Mom.
And I am Jess, Crazy Mother Runner.
And I always say this, but we have a super special guest with us today. We have the Zen Blonde for a little extra support, and we have Sadie with us today. If you have been paying any attention to our accounts over the last couple of weeks, back in December, Sadie was falsely accused of trying to abduct a wannabe influencer's child while shopping in Michael's. And it was a whole ordeal in the Bay Area and nationwide at that point in time. And now we have come to the time she was actually charged with lying to police officers and falsifying a police report, and her court date is actually on Thursday. So we are going to have Sadie here today to tell us her whole story. And why don't you give us a little introduction, Sadie, and tell us where our followers can find you on social media.
Hi, I'm Sadie Martinez. I'm the attempted child abductor. And you can find me on TikTok under Irish Nikoya 13 or on Instagram as well under Nika San Fran. I'm happy to be here, by the way.
We are so happy to have you here. A friend of yours reached out after I made a video last week and said, we need to connect you two. And I was just so grateful for that. So let's rewind a week. We are going to take a look at the video that I made that kind of sums it up a little bit, and then we'll go into Sadie's story a little bit.
Do you guys remember this girl, Katie Sorensen? She's the doTERRA Hunbot who made up the story that a couple in Michael's tried to kidnap her kids. She's facing criminal charges for that mini influencer attempt at a content grab. Let's take a look at some of the highlights of that video.
Have our guards up so much about masks and wanting to keep our children safe that way that we're forgetting the most important way to keep them safe, and that is with us.
Excuse me, ma'am, are you telling me that people are so concerned with putting masks on their kids that they're forgetting to watch their kids?
They were not kind. That sounds bad, but they weren't clean cut individuals.
Just say it. They didn't look white. God, I hate it here.
The boy will be easier because he's not wearing a mask, so the mom must not really care about him that much. It's in a situation where they do need to take the public right now to be aware of what's going on.
Okay, I know this was filmed in the middle of the pandemic. Do you have an idea in your head that there's some sort of craft store child abduction epidemic? I mean, people think that there are evil cabals in the basements of pizza parlors, so I guess you'll believe anything. She's been charged with giving false information to the police. It's just 2 misdemeanors, but she has a court date. Hey, that's my birthday! Hey, hon, I'll definitely be thinking about you all day.
Excuse me how many times I might have rolled my eyes during the time she spoke. I'm so sorry.
God.
I apologize.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you could tell she was definitely rambling on. So Sadie, why don't you kind of take us through that day and your experience?
It was actually just a normal day. It was a Monday, and my husband had the day off because it was his birthday the Saturday before. And so he decided to tag along to Michael's, which he normally doesn't. He probably wishes he hadn't. And I was looking for baby Jesus for my nativity set because the kids were upset they weren't going to grandma's for Christmas. It's a traditional Latin custom. So went to Michael's, walked through the store, got my baby Jesus, and we went home. There was nothing out of the ordinary. There was I don't even remember talking to anybody other than the cashier at the counter when I paid. So just a normal day. And then I think it was 2 days later. I know that her video had been out prior to me seeing the picture that was released by the police, and they were looking for the potential suspects. So apparently Katie had gone to the police and tried to warn them that there were these people that looked suspicious, and they tried to abduct her children. And when the police went to do their due diligence, they didn't really locate anything. And so, and this was prior to our knowledge, prior to, I think, the whole world's knowledge. And so at that point, I think Katie took to Instagram and decided to be her own police and made a video. And that went viral. So
God. Of course.
When video 1 and 2 went viral, the Petaluma Police Department got bombarded. You know, we live where Polly Klaas was abducted. And so at that point, they felt compelled to investigate. You know, this lady just told 4.5 million people that 2 people just tried to abduct her kids. They better do something. So they reacted, and they were trying to do their due diligence. So in investigating and following up with Katie, it was determined that my husband and I were the potential suspects in which Katie was speaking of. And, you know, she verified this when they went through the footage and provided her with a picture. So she confirmed that that was us indeed. And that's the picture that was then released. So my daughter's friends started sending the picture to her, and everybody was laughing, saying that it looks like your parents. And she was like, yeah.
Oh, geez.
There's 5 of us. That's not my parents. So they started bugging my kids. So she came to us and showed us the picture, and we were like, whatever. We were there, but nothing happened like out of the ordinary. So we just laughed. And who wants more kids anyway? You know, we started making jokes. We already had 1 kid move out. We're trying to get the other 4 out, not bring more in. So it just became funny. And then that's when it started being a big deal on Facebook. And I saw a friend upload it. And so I made the joke and said, my kid thought it was us, you know, LOL. And well, she's like into graphics and all that. She sends me a message and she says, are you sure it's not you? And I said, well, his hoodie doesn't look like a Black Lives Matter hoodie. That's what he was, you know, that's what he was wearing. And she just zoomed in and did her little magic. And 10 minutes later, she's like, yes, it is. And I was like, oh, that's not good. But nothing really happened. So we're still tripping at this point. Like,
yeah.
Okay. And so I would think it was within a couple hours later, I got a message on Facebook, and it was a Petaluma police officer. And I was like, whoa, they don't even come to your door anymore.
COVID. They just send you an instant IM. That's it.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I don't even know if I want to open this. Like, how about if I just leave you unread?
Oh,
yeah, that's the last person you want sliding in your DMs.
Yeah, because the moment I knew, you could see that first sentence, and when he said he was a police officer, I just knew, because I just confirmed basically that it was me, myself, on my own.
Right.
And so I was like, oh, God. So I called my husband. I opened the email, actually, and I read it, and I laughed some more. And but then it kind of became serious. And so he basically told us that he is aware that the picture that was released regarding the suspects in Petaluma, regarding the potential child abduction, which he was sure I had heard of because everybody had, people had pointed out that it was me and my husband. If we could please come forward, they would like to talk to us. So I contacted an attorney I know, and we had her provide a statement to the police department.
Good. Yeah. I'm glad you did that. How did that feel for you, having to do that, having just known that there was nothing that you did wrong? I mean, walk us through your emotions from doing that.
Like I said, once we got past the laughing part, we kind of got angry. Like, we weren't bothering anybody. We weren't doing anything. And I don't know, but the last 4 years, sure, there's been comments. I've attended protests in support of some friends. Everybody's seen what happened to George Floyd. yeah, when the reality sunk in that somebody decided we were unkept Hispanic people or Latin people, however you choose to word that, and decided to make up a story about us and file a false police report, it hit hard.
Yeah.
As a mother of 5, I have 5
Yeah.
kids. My house is the house where all the kids come. If there's a kid that needs a ride and their parents not around, I get a phone call. If your kid needs help with something or with other kids and they don't want to talk to their own parents, I'm the parent that gets the phone call. So it hurt. It hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has it, you know, I grew up in the Bay Area, pretty close to where you are, and you know, I had gay parents, and you know, while people can't see that in me as I'm walking around, it definitely, you know, even though it is a liberal place, it caused issues in my life. But you know, have you ever experienced anything like this before? And you know, you don't need to go into detail, but you know, for our listeners who aren't in California and who don't know, you know, it's a pretty accepting place.
It is.
But have you experienced anything like that before?
Well, growing up in San Francisco, for the most part, I mean, I'm sure racism is everywhere, but no, you know, we came from a diverse area where you never even thought to ask your friends what nationality they were or where they were from. Yeah, you'd go to their house and they'd feed you and you'd have different foods, but you didn't care. You were getting fed and it was free.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's where's your family from, you know? And yeah, we live in the smaller towns. It's a lot more prevalent. You know, my kids go to a predominantly white school. There's a lot of Hispanic people, but you're always going to have a handful of people that look at you like they're better than you and you don't belong. And, you know, my 19-year-old on a regular basis is told to go back to where she came from. And she laughs, you know, we're citizens. We're from here. So I just kind of raise them to always speak up, tell other people they're mad, they have no flavor. I mean, they're judging you because of what, jealousy or, you know, entitlement. Just, you know, stand your ground and don't ever let it break you, but always speak up, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
People need to understand.
Well, it's
But what happened
go ahead.
after that, you got your lawyer and, you know, it's kind of the court of public opinion started their crucifixion of her. How did that go from then on?
After that, the police proceeded to do their investigation because we obviously stated we did not attempt to try to steal anybody's kids. And we never even actually saw Katie, noticed Katie, didn't know Katie. And so all of her accounts that she stated in her video and at the police department, which did not match up, were in fact not true. So they investigated, and with, you know, video and other things, they were able to determine that our account was in fact accurate and we never attempted to try to steal any children. And at that point, they asked us if we would like to pursue charges towards Katie. And you better believe your bottom's ass. I was like, oh yeah.
Yes and yes.
Yes. Check mark, please. Yeah, I'm sorry, but the rest of the world and all the other people like Katie will learn from her. Whether she sits in jail or not, everybody will always remember her. And I hope people will stop and think twice before they try to pull something like this again.
Yeah. Did you ever receive any sort of apology from Katie, or have you heard from her at all?
No.
That's ridiculous.
My understanding was she's been silent since I spoke up and she took her videos down and locked her page. That's the last I've heard about Katie.
Yeah, because I was reading somewhere that in her police report, it didn't line up with what she even said on her video. And she said your husband tried to grab her stroller or something.
Yeah.
But she didn't tell the police that because I think she was trying to add a little juice to the story in order to get more followers.
Correct.
At
I
your
don't know,
expense.
but Katie's kind of petite compared to my husband. I'm pretty sure if he tried to snatch some kids, he would have had the kids.
Yeah.
We'd have 2 extra kids now.
Yeah. Well, you know, the only kid you were trying to take home was baby Jesus.
That's it. I tell you.
That's hilarious. Well, and I think it's funny, but we're seeing that more and more. Like, I'm kind of surprised she went to the police. And I'm, you know, like, it's the fact that she knew right off the bat her story was complete bullshit.
I have
do you have
mixed
an idea why
ideas
she did
about
that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious. Like, why do you think she went to the police? Because obviously her original video was for like clout chasing, probably more followers to get a viewing to go viral. You know, that was
definitely
her intent. So why'd she go that extra step to end up incriminating herself inevitably?
I don't think she, you know, I don't think this is something maybe she hadn't done before or whatnot. So if you don't really understand the law, then you just put yourself in a position that, guess what, became out of your hands the moment you showed up at the police station. Yeah. So she probably thought, you know, because like I said, she didn't want to press charges originally. Remember, she was just making us all aware. So in her awareness, her power was taken away. Yep. And so that's where she screwed up. So I think she's naive, and so didn't understand what exactly was going to happen when she did go to the police department, as well as I think that she thought maybe possibly my husband and I were immigrants, or at least he was. He's a bit darker than I.
We're going to get him deported if anything happens.
Yeah, then she'll be everybody's, you know, hero.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, we're American citizens and proud product of immigrants. Yeah. And so she failed.
Yeah.
Thank God. Thank God.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just glad it was, I mean, I hate to say this, but I'm glad it was someone like you who is like, I'm not going to put up with your bullshit and stand up for yourself, because unfortunately there's a lot of people that would, and unfortunately there's immigrants that even are in a sense legal, but are immigrants and just trying to stay under the radar for, the purpose of just trying to seek a better life. And I know this because I work in a public school system. We have so many in our public school system right now. But yeah, like they don't want to be in the limelight. So even if it was in your case, the same thing where she's just making up the story, it's one of those situations they probably wouldn't have done anything.
Oh no,
so I'm
most definitely.
Thankful. Yeah, I'm kind of thankful that you're letting her know consequences. Actions have consequences.
Accountability.
Yeah.
That was one of the first things I said. I said, gratefully, we're in a position where, I could speak up and we can fight back. What if she would have done this to, my father many years ago or whatnot?
Exactly.
Could have been a whole different outcome. Or I often think of what if she would have called the police from the store? How would that have played out? You know, we see a lot of times when the police show up on site, how that turns out. And so, a lot of things about what she did just kind of make you think. That's probably why I'm so involved now.
Yeah. So you have kind of evolved into this activist as a consequence of this. Tell us about how, when it flipped, that switch kind of flipped and you had that relief of, knowing that they obviously didn't suspect you and moving into this activist role, and tell us about how, you made the decision that you wanted to do that.
Well, you guys are all moms. And so as a mom, as your kids get older, that voice becomes louder and stronger. I'm sure you guys are all learning that. Okay. So I've been doing this 25 years. I've been a mom. So I've always taught my kids to speak up, and I've always had their back and spoke up for them. So when this happened to me, I just looked at them like, we're going to teach this lady. Like, there was no other option. And so
this is a learning moment.
For all the kids watching. I mean, I don't know a better way to word that. Yeah. And so I knew the justice system was going to take time, and I knew I needed to focus on something else in the meantime, because Katie rents space in my head, So my attorney suggested I bring the Karen Act to Petaluma, because if that had already been in Petaluma, she would have most definitely been charged with a hate crime. And so it gave me something to focus on. The mayor asked me to join a committee a police community oversight committee, which allows me to present this legislation that I'd like to pass in Petaluma. So I've just been kind of, getting my hands a little dirty and trying to help out in a good way, the good fight, trying to show my kids.
Yeah. Yeah. And for those of you who aren't familiar, the Karen Act was initially proposed in San Francisco, and it makes it illegal, or it makes it a hate crime if somebody calls 911 based on someone's race. Correct? Am I getting that wrong?
Yes.
Yeah. And so we're hoping here in California that picks up traction, and that we see the Karen Act moving across the country, because this is a huge problem, and you see it kind of becoming more exacerbated as social media is becoming so prevalent, and this whole live thing is just enabling people to hop on and share parts of their lives, the ugly parts of our lives that were not always exposed in the past, and so I know as a Californian, I'm hoping to see that kind of move across the country. Do you have anything coming up, Sadie, that our followers should know about as far as your activism goes, and what can we do to get involved?
Let's see. We do have a committee meeting on May 18th where, once again, I'll address the Karen Act, which I presented as the Sadie stance. If you want to keep following and see what happens to Katie and the outcome and hear more about our story, follow us on TikTok. I just want to be able to go back and give back and teach and use it as an education tool for kids. Everybody's supposed to get along. You're supposed to be able to go to school and not worry and not care where your friend's family comes from or what they look like. And so if I have to keep running my mouth, that's what I'm going to do.
I love it. I love it. And for anyone that doesn't know, the Karen Act, I wrote it down, stands for Caution Against Racial and Exploitative Non-Emergencies Act. And I love that it is a play on Karen, which has become such a thing, but it's Caren for anyone that wants to look it up. And I think it should be a thing everywhere. I mean, I'm sure you guys remember the poor man in Central Park who was accused of attacking that woman. And, that was like the first Karen we really saw in such a big way. And I just hope that people are exposed and,
Amy Cooper.
Yeah.
Amy Cooper. That was exactly who I thought of when she did this to us.
Oh, I know. Yeah, hands down. It's the same situation.
Poor guy. He was just looking at his birds.
And it's weird because now we see it more and more. Like I've seen multiple instances of it on TikTok.
Oh yeah.
Where people have recorded individuals, usually white women, just creating a narrative in live time while they're being recorded when it's not actually happening. I just saw one the other day where this woman's like, "Your dog bit me," and the guy's like, "My dog? That's a pit bull." He's like, "Dude, it was like a beagle or something." Like he put the camera down. And she's like, I mean, so it's just something that we just see like you said, social media is growing this viral narrative to create more hatred, more division, more racism.
Right.
Big time.
Well, there's whole accounts on TikTok that are like one of them I think is like Attack of the Karens or something.
Oh yeah.
Where like literally all their videos are just these like found footage of Karens being dicks and just like doing the most horrible things you can possibly imagine. Yep. And it's like I took a couple hours and binged all of them once, and I just felt like, oh my goodness, the whole world is falling apart. I felt dirty. I felt like I don't want to be a white lady anymore.
I know. And it's very in the comments, because I did a video about your situation, and in the comments there were so many women of color saying this is why white women tears are dangerous, and weaponizing your tears is such a thing. And I think a lot of us understand our privilege, and if there wasn't a camera there, then it would be your word against hers. And thank God there was some way to corroborate your story, because she really could have put you and your husband behind bars when you're just, from what it sounds like, the mom that everyone goes to. You have like a loving home. You were bringing home a baby Jesus, for God's sake. And you're getting accused of kidnapping. I mean, truly unbelievable stuff. And I'm so sorry you had to go through that.
Thank you. I can say, though, that living in Petaluma, being here 15 years, our town stepped up. Like you said, most of the comments you see are in support of us. Wow. The police said, is there anybody you guys don't know? I think one of my daughter's best friend, the father is a police lieutenant. He said, I'd have wrapped my kids in bows and gave them to you if I'd known, So
sadly, you probably would have taken better care of her kids than she does. So.
But for all the bad, our town, Petaluma, was pretty amazing about it. All our people, our village, they stepped up, I have to say.
Did you feel comfortable interacting with the police from the beginning? Like, tell us how your comfort level was when you first got the phone call and the email. How did you feel about the interactions with the police?
I'm always hesitant when it comes to the police. Like I said, I didn't grow up in Petaluma, so I have past experience, history with the police growing up or whatnot. So yeah, we are always cautious with dealing with them. Hence, me calling the attorney before even calling the police department. And I still feel that way. I'll always feel that way because, yes, as a whole, you have a whole system. But each one is an individual, and it's like a lottery lately, and you really just don't know who you're going to get. Do I think they're all horrible people? No way. No way. But you need reform, and you need change. And those bad apples, you can't have bad apples in a police department. Like you can't have a bad surgeon in the surgery room. So yeah, you kind of got to be careful. So we're always cautious when dealing with the police, unless it's, somebody we actually know. They were don't get me wrong, very pleasant with us. They were very respectful. But, I would have preferred I'd have preferred my picture not being released if you really wanted to know.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, Petaluma is an interesting place. It's kind of, you've got Marin right below you, which is like one of the most expensive places to live in California. And you're kind of getting away from the city in that, you don't really have, like, BART doesn't go up to Petaluma. So you don't really have that much of the influence from San Francisco or Oakland all the way up there. But it's a family area, but it's also getting a little bit in the honky tonk land.
It is.
I wouldn't blame you for, it's just all it takes is one cop, to change your life forever. And, it sounds like it went well for you, but, we're pretty glad that I'm glad to see that you're taking a role in the future to change that doubt. Did you feel like you had to be pushed to listen to, or do you feel like things changed in your favor pretty quickly?
I felt like it was important to keep her name out there and to keep the story alive, because we know many times that white women tend to get off a little easier when they go to court. I don't know. Did you watch all those parents that paid for their kids to go to college? Anybody pay attention?
Oh, yeah.
How long did they sit in jail? Not very long.
Not very long.
Right. And so,
if at all.
Exactly. And so, we're not oblivious to the world.
Yeah. I actually saw a comment that somebody wrote that she should have to serve the sentences that you and your husband would have had to have served if you had been convicted of the crime that she was saying that you were attempting to do.
Right.
And I was like, wouldn't that be a good example for the world? But I don't know what she'll get.
At this point, it's just 2 misdemeanors, correct? I mean,
2 misdemeanors that each one is maximum could be up to 5 years, which we all know she's not going to get. But I'd be even happy if they just threw her in there for a month.
Yeah.
Just you know, a
learning
little karma, a lesson. I bet
Yeah.
she'll change her attitude real quick.
Let's hope that she doesn't spin it in a like Orange is the New Black kind of like trying to document her time there.
With a gray hat. Don't forget her beanie.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny. My friend and I said that. I said I could see her in the orange jumpsuit and the gray hat.
She looks like Piper.
Jeez.
That'd be the new look.
Oh my gosh.
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dear Lord.
So how can your community support you moving forward, locally and you know, and not so locally? You know, we've got the court date coming up on Thursday, and you know, what are you hoping?
I'm hoping everybody keeps talking about Katie, keep sharing her, keep her out there. I think that, you know, she labeled us around the world. And, you know, there's many people that only see one side of a story and then never see it again. And so, you know, I want her held accountable. Locally, you know, you could follow the city council meeting. You can request that the Sadie stance be passed. And like I said, follow me on social media and see, I don't know what will happen next or what we'll do. I am just a mom who blows up balloons. I'll keep blowing up my balloons and keep speaking up.
So any idea, I'm curious, like your lawyer says about like timeline, like, do you have an idea of how long the courts, it'll be drawn out? Like, is there a...
No, you know, with COVID and everything, the court system has been up, down, left, right. I mean, it took them 5 months just to get all their evidence and the confidence to go ahead and charge her. Yeah. So I'm very curious to see what Thursday brings.
Okay.
I do know she has a high profile attorney. We just wait and see. Just keep her name out there, follow, support, you know, always speak up. Don't, you know, if you see this happening to somebody else, do not walk away and act like you don't care. It's okay to have a voice. A lot of people don't want the attention, don't want to be looked at like the bad person. No, the only way for things to change is if we all do our part.
Yep.
Speak up.
Right. Yeah. I'd like to see white women using less of this weaponizing of their tears and more of the stories we hear of someone just documenting a traffic stop and, you know, seeing a situation with a police officer that may end up badly and just being there to observe it. You know, it's that's what we need to be turning
allies.
Most definitely. And what's the craziest part to me is, I mean, how many households are really just one ethnicity at this point? I mean, really? Yeah. I mean, I know for myself, I'm Nicaraguan. My dad came from Nicaragua. My mom's family came from Ireland. I'm a mixed child. I represent both sides happily. My mom would come down and smack me in the head from heaven if I didn't mention my Irish side every day of the week. So when I see people that just don't like their neighbor because of what they look like, I'm like, you're missing out. You enjoy the food, you travel, the culture, but you don't want to be friends with your neighbor. Like, love the neighbor. Like,
my dad's Puerto Rican and Cherokee Indian, and my mom is white Irish.
See,
so yeah, same thing. But my brother, like, he grew up being perceived as black because he does have kind of an Afro style hair. He has extremely dark complexion. Like I'm dark in the summer, but the rest of the year I'm white, you know. But he all year long, and my dad, you know, were very, very dark complected, and he ended up falling into a different group of friends than I did. You know, we had a big age gap, but same reason, because he was accepted by a group because of the color of his skin. So yeah, I've seen it in my own family, very sibling.
My brothers look like Irish boys.
See,
yeah.
And I have a redhead, white baby that burns if she looks at the sun the wrong way. You know, so it's like,
oh yeah, I have one of those too.
Yeah. So,
well, if you've seen my grandchildren, I don't know if you have, but they're on social media as well, and they're as white as you up in the corner, Jess. You know, it makes me sad. Yeah. Like, I was raised in a household with two different cultures. Like, I appreciate that. I embrace that. I just don't understand how others don't.
It's getting lost in translation, unfortunately.
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have to.
Uh-oh.
What was that?
This happened with Jess, or this happened with Lauren when we had her on the pod the first time.
She's like in the probably the best Wi-Fi location around.
Right.
I thought we resolved this. Well, I have to say, as awful as what happened to you is, I do feel like you're going to do so much amazing advocacy work because of this, and you're going to enact so much change.
Thank you.
And hopefully this will be another thread that pulls it so that nationally this is not, tolerated, and it is considered a hate crime when it happens to other people.
Definitely.
It needs to be. It is.
Yes. Yes.
I appreciate all of you guys helping. I really do. I appreciate all of the support, 100%. Yeah. That's the only way the world's going to change.
Yeah. Was there ever a question of pursuing this as a hate crime, or, how did that?
What can I say? I will say that building a hate crime is very difficult. Yeah. Especially with the current laws that we have. So depending on where you're at and what the laws are, unfortunately, that was not possible. Down the line, I will speak on that more. I'll speak on that more. I'll explain that for you.
Yeah.
I'll break it down. But exactly why the Sadie stance needs to be passed, because this should have been a hate crime.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's so much red tape around charges of hate crime right now in so many different states.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. But that to me puts a pretty big red stamp of shame on somebody's character moving forward. And that's something that, when I read misdemeanor, like, it kind of gave me like this guttural reaction where I'm like, I can't, like, what, like, it's basically like, when I hear that, I hear like traffic ticket or,
right.
Like literally.
She wanted to send us to jail for 25 years while she gets a slap on the wrist. That is kind of crazy. I agree.
Right.
And how, like you said, it could have escalated if she had called the police there or,
definitely
did things differently. So it's like, it's really terrifying to think how much control, again, a white woman's tears had in a moment.
Oh, and with the internet,
Yeah.
It wasn't just her.
The internet. Internet's so dangerous.
It's amazing the amount of people that shared her story. Unreal.
Yeah. It's definitely puzzling, and so Thursday, kind of, are you going on Thursday? Will you be there?
I could attend via Zoom. I don't believe she will. I have a feeling her attorney will show up in her, because it's a misdemeanor. It's not, but I just, like I said, I'd like to see her charged and prosecuted. Well, she's been charged. I'd like to see her prosecuted, because then at that point I can address Facebook and Instagram and maybe get her shut down permanently, because she doesn't deserve any form of a platform, obviously.
No.
And so, where the dominoes may fall.
I'm sad that she won with a charge that is clearly, like, I'm sad that Instagram or Facebook hasn't stepped in already. I feel like these social media platforms are not doing the right by us. Like they're just not. Like, they don't squash misinformation. They don't squash things like these hate crimes. There's literally right now a guy this last week stole a Pfizer and a J&J vaccine on live on Instagram. Both videos are still up. He still has a full account. He's got over 57,000 followers. He gained like 40 of them overnight. Like, it's just the fact that these social medias are elevating these criminals, basically.
Big time.
Like, hey, you're horrible. Let's give you a platform.
Well, look what happened at the Capitol after the last 4 years.
Exactly.
Hello?
Exactly.
Social media did that with him combined. So
absolutely. And there is concrete proof, even just on my freaking TikTok, for God's sake, that shows that this was used to plan the insurrection. And luckily, Worcester Parlor, thankfully, has been down for the last week. I haven't had anything to do, but I'm happy about it. But I'm
still on Telegram.
I'm scared to go back on Telegram. But it's very telling to me that, like, she's still, like, okay, she went private on her accounts, but she still got, 80,000 followers from that friend of hers, that she's only down to 75 at this point, and she hasn't closed her account, which means, to me, that's what she wanted, was that magic number that really means nothing in this world to just go up and up and up. And, you know, it's that
validation.
Right. And she, you know, we were kind of talking about this a little bit before, that like it's kind of tied in with a bunch of little things, but most of it is that she wanted to content, and she wanted to have that validation and have that followership go up. And, you know, while I do really want to see her in jail, I really want to see her account go away.
Yeah.
I want all of the above. How about that?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't blame you.
Oh, yeah. The fact that she still has all the followers is just crazy to me. Crazy.
Yeah.
God.
It sounds like she hasn't been posting much. We've been kind of trying to see what the deal is with that. You know, we're gonna stick with the story, and for our followers who are on live right now and listening later, we are definitely hoping to follow back up with Sadie after Thursday and kind of discuss what happens on Thursday and how we feel about that. And so TBD at this point. Does anybody else have anything more to add? Any more questions?
No. Thank you so much. And oh God, I mean, I hope that this Stand With Sadie gets passed, and the Karen Act needs to be everywhere. And, you know, thank God you're okay.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think I can speak for all three of these women here that you just let us know what we can do. And, you know, we have that magic number too, and we can use it.
We can cry and get some white women arrested for you if you want. I'm just kidding.
No police.
For legal purposes, that was a joke. Okay.
Yeah, we know that. No, I really appreciate what you guys are doing. And like I said, it's, you know, everybody's speaking up and keep her name out there. You know, I feel that she thinks that it'll die down and she still has 80,000 people and she can go back to her regular life. Yeah, not today.
We do have one question. We have a question. How did this impact your family? How are your husband and kids?
Let's see. My husband doesn't like attention. He's not on social media.
So this was annoying.
It was very annoying. He doesn't leave the house very much now. But on a positive side, his customers, he's a UPS man, and his customers have been amazing. He delivers out in Bodega Bay, and they all look out for him. So he's okay.
Good.
My kids, they support me 100%. They always tell me to run my mouth. They just don't want to be in any of the pictures.
Run your mouth, Mom. Just leave me out of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
They share stuff for me all the time. They, like I said, they got my back.
It's just a comment for you.
Laura, just I'm sorry for what happened to you, Sadie. Thank you for fighting back and making a difference. Yep.
Thank you.
That's the sentiment across the board here, and we can't wait to see what happens. And we will be talking with you soon, Sadie. And,
Sounds good.
Thank you so much for coming on, and we can't wait to see what happens. And we'll definitely be all over our pages on Thursday, even though you know it is my birthday. But
we'll celebrate
a good birthday
for you.
Present.
That'd be a great birthday present.
Best
present. That's all I want too for you.
All right, everyone.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We will see you tomorrow. We've got 2 podcasts this week. Tomorrow we're going to be talking to Under the Dust News, and it looks like we're going to be talking about a pretty interesting subject tomorrow, fuckery and political strategy, which I loved her phrasing on, or I love their phrasing on that, and
yes,
and I can't wait to delve deep into that. So we will see you tomorrow. And thank you so much for joining us on this bonus episode. And bye, everybody.
Bye.